Breaking. Princess of Asturias Award Ceremony 2025 stuns Spain. Spain expected elegance. Spain expected tradition. Spain did not expect this. A royal ceremony known for calm dignity suddenly ignited the entire nation. Because today, something happened at the Princess of Asturias Awards. Something no one saw coming. And the world cannot stop talking about it. Spain woke up expecting a familiar royal ritual, the Princess of Asturias Awards. A ceremony older than many of the people watching, cherished, predictable, almost sacred in its perfect order. But this year, 2025 rewrote that script entirely. From the moment Princess Leonor, heir to the Spanish throne and the future Queen of Spain, stepped onto the stage, it became clear, this was not just another royal event. This was a turning point. A shift. The kind of moment that decades later, historians still replay and ask, where were you when this happened? But to understand why this single ceremony stunned Spain emotionally, politically, culturally, we must step back and look at the forces quietly shaping this day long before Leonor walked out in front of the cameras. Because what unfolded in that hall was not spontaneous. It was the result of pressure, expectation, family tension, and a decision only one person could make. Princess Leonor. The Princess of Asturias Awards have always served as her platform, her proving ground, even when she was barely old enough to fully grasp what it meant to address a nation. She gave her first public speech here as a child. She returned as a teenager, each year carrying herself with more confidence, more authority, more of that unmistakable aura that said, "I will be queen." But 2025, this was different. This was the year everything changed. Because this time, the world wasn't just watching her, they were testing her. Evaluating her. Measuring whether she was ready to step into the role destiny carved for her. And Leonor, Princess of Asturias, future monarch, didn't just rise to the challenge. She shattered expectations. From the moment she walked in, the room shifted. A stillness fell, the kind that isn't silence so much as collective anticipation. People felt it before they understood it. Her dress was elegant, but it wasn't the dress people talked about. Her posture was royal, but it wasn't her posture that sent Spain into an emotional storm. Her smile was warm, but even that wasn't the reason the country was glued to their screens. It was the look in her eyes. Calm, controlled, determined, as though she walked into that ceremony already knowing what she was about to do, and what it would mean. Because Princess Leonor wasn't simply attending the awards. She was about to deliver the most consequential speech of her life. But what pushed her to this moment? Why 2025? Why now? Curiosity opens the first loop. The truth reaches back to months of quiet palace tension. Leonor had completed her military training with honors. She had stepped into increasing public duties. She had become, in the eyes of many, the most prepared European heir of her generation. But still, there were doubts. Not from the people. From inside the palace walls. Some advisors whispered that she was too young, too inexperienced, too idealistic, that the monarchy should protect her a little longer, shield her, guide her, control the pace. Leonor disagreed, and as she prepared for the 2025 Princess of Asturias Awards, she began crafting something extraordinary, a speech that was not simply ceremonial but deeply personal. A statement of identity, a declaration of responsibility, the kind of message that could either inspire her people, or spark backlash from critics who believed a young princess should remain carefully silent. But Leonor understood something her advisors did not. Spain was ready, and so was she. Now the second curiosity loop tightens. When she took the stage, even King Felipe and Queen Letizia exchanged a glance, subtle, but enough for attentive viewers to catch. A glance that said, "She's doing something." Spain felt the tension. It wasn't negative, it was electric. And then she began. Her voice steady, her tone mature, her words precise, but filled with emotion. She spoke of Spain's youth, not as a faraway demographic but as her own generation, a generation she wanted to lead, to uplift, to defend. She spoke of service, not as obligation, but as love. She spoke of unity, not as political messaging, but as personal conviction. Her speech was powerful, but it was what came next that stunned Spain. Leonor paused, looked at her father, the king, then back at the audience. And she announced, for the first time publicly, a new initiative she would personally lead. Not the palace. Not her parents. Not the government. Her. A nationwide program aimed at connecting Spain's youth with opportunities in innovation, education, and cultural preservation, sectors she insisted would define Spain's next century. This wasn't symbolic. It was structural, concrete, a real commitment. A future queen saying, "I am stepping into my role now, not years from now." The audience froze, then erupted. This wasn't tradition. This wasn't routine. This was a queen in the making taking charge. And suddenly, every camera turned fully toward her. Even the foreign press, often focused on other European royals, immediately shifted focus to Leonor, recognizing what everyone in Spain felt. They had just witnessed the moment the nation's future became real. But why was her announcement so shocking? To answer that, we open the next curiosity loop. Because the Princess of Asturias awards are highly scripted. Every speech approved. Every gesture predicted. Every message calculated. For decades, no heir had ever broken that pattern. Leonor did. Not recklessly, deliberately. Her initiative was well prepared, organized, designed with experts, ready to launch. She had done the work quietly, personally, refusing to allow anyone else to take ownership of it. This was her mission, her vision, her identity, and Spain felt a collective emotional hit, not fear, but pride. For years, people had wondered, would Leonor be strong enough, bold enough, prepared enough? And in that single moment, she answered every doubt. Her generation cheered. Her critics fell silent. Her supporters cried. Her parents watched with emotion they tried, unsuccessfully, to hide. But the moment that shook Spain the most, had not yet come. Because after announcing her initiative, Leonor turned her speech towards something more delicate. More intimate. More fragile. Something no one expected a future queen to address so openly. Her own struggle. Her own pressure. Her own fears. She revealed the weight she carried, the expectations, the scrutiny, the constant awareness that her life was more than her own. And she thanked Spain for shaping her into someone who could hold that responsibility with love rather than resentment. This confession, raw, vulnerable, astonishing, was what melted the nation. Here was a princess, a soldier, a future monarch, a young woman willing to speak honestly to millions. No palace scriptwriter could have crafted something so real. And in that vulnerability, the entire world saw her differently. Not as a royal symbol, but as a leader, human, strong, and compassionate. But the story did not end with the speech. As she stepped off the stage, something else happened that sent social media into a frenzy, racking up millions of impressions within minutes. Queen Letizia stood. King Felipe stood. The entire audience rose in a thunderous standing ovation. But then, Letizia stepped forward. And in a move she had never done publicly in this ceremony's history, she hugged her daughter. A long, emotional embrace. One that said, "You did it." One that said, "You're ready." It was instant history. Parents across Spain felt it. Young women saw themselves in it. The monarchy, often perceived as distant, suddenly felt intensely human. And as Leonor walked down the hall, cameras caught something else. A small, trembling exhale. The release of everything she had held inside. Spain wasn't just witnessing a princess. They were witnessing transformation. But the day's shock wasn't limited to emotion, it extended to politics. Leonor's initiative immediately sparked nationwide debate. Opposition parties questioned the timing. Supporters hailed her leadership. Analysts commented for hours, dissecting the long-term impact. And through it all, Leonor remained composed, granting a brief but deeply articulate interview where she explained her mission in her own words. Her message was clear: Spain's future cannot wait. And neither can she. This single day shifted public perception dramatically. Polls soared. International outlets praised her poise. Youth organizations reached out to collaborate. Old critics softened. Leonor did not just stun Spain, she united it, even if only for a moment. But what made 2025 so unique? Why did this ceremony carry this much power? Because it came at a time when Spain needed reassurance, hope, and direction. Economic tensions, social divisions, and cultural debates were building. People were tired. People needed something, someone, to spark renewed belief. Leonor did that. Not by being perfect, not by being scripted, but by being authentic. Her courage created the emotional shockwave that carried this ceremony into history. And by the end of the night, one thing was undeniable. The monarchy's future is no longer abstract. It has a face, a voice, a heart. Princess Leonor didn't simply attend the 2025 Princess of Asturias Awards. She defined them, she transformed them, she redefined what it means to be the future Queen of Spain. And Spain, stunned, emotional, united, felt something they haven't felt in years. Hope.